It is time to walk the end. So yes, I am back, and it's time for Endwalker. You know, never a moment too late. Always right on time. Definitely. Gonna quickly do this so it's a bit better. Here we go. So when we left off last time, we were gonna head to Shalian, right? For the quest. I unlocked Sage and Reaper. Because Sage and Reaper. But yeah. For this expansion, we'll be playing as Paladin. Because Paladin, main character. Let's go. Let's go to Mordona. And have a gay old time. Return to the Rising Stones. Wobble up, chuckle fucks. It's that time of year again. Sinton, do you have some time to talk? Of course, that's why I'm here. I would like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that such structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi. The Telophoroi's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered, at least. But after what happened to Arenwald and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Van Daniel, and one other delightful fellow, Xenos Ye Galvis, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varys, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it was the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession. But that has since changed, and in troubling ways. During our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. 'Twas an ear fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with the nary word spoken did they labor to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume that these events too were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find our way in Sharlayan, I'm sure of it. Master Fortunano's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The Forum knows more than it is letting on. Sorry to interrupt. Fuck off, Tata. We've just received word from Mrs. Cryle. She says that arrangements for your visit have been finalized. You're to head to Limsa and board the next ship bound for Sharlayan. And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldessian. Come to assist with the Order's restoration. The arrangement may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. Ah, shit, wrong button. Pressing on. I'm eager to see it, of course. Ahem. We should set off at once. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. The music though, the music. So you went your What was that our girl's name? Philadelphia. Do I want the headgear? No, I don't. Hey yo. Ooh, which blades are those? The fuck? Augmented trip lookers. Somebody has already leveled it to 80. That actually kind of cool. Fuck. Couldn't even see Tataru. Everyone's here, which is good, because I've already paid for your passage and the fee is not refundable. The ship for Sharlayan should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand. This is just like when we had to go to, what's it called? The Far East, Kugane.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on ship.
Ah, fuck.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louisoix of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
He's not coming along, you see.
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
So yeah, Mom just walked in. I wasn't ready for it. Let me just really quickly turn myself up. So now I'm loud again. Ha. Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
Can't believe Estinian's gonna turn
I'd
into
rather you
Alphinaud's dad.
dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphinaud.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just... we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hell-bent on destroying the world.
Hell spells. False
And
ball.
once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
I'll bring them back safe and sound. I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hey, Hori Boulder.
Ori! Coulternay! What brings you all this way?
What do you think,
We're
Alice?
to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
Understandable.
Set the sail! All aboard for Charlian!
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
Off we go.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Oh, it's the map again. Why are we here to see Bahamut? No, not Bahamut music.
Here. Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
Bahamut music bad. That's the music that played when 1.0 was Calamity.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Oh god. Why now, Heidelin?
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Heidelin has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. the greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms, monumental, which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlayan's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
And so we shall.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go! Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen.
The music, no.
There she is. Good old Sharlayan.
Oh, I see it.
Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian said. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side. I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlayan proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
Also known as probably a dungeon. It's probably going to be a dungeon. Endwalker.
Sharlian, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
The Northern Empty. Old Sharlian. Wait, the Empty? Hold on.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlian all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlian only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders, especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
I mean,
Quite.
I hate to admit
So
it, but
let us be
Sicilian has a point.
absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlian's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we? Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
Orianchi, something. Thancred, bitch.
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
Goddamn. Advanced.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlian natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
I mean, I guess adventure by trade? Sentimental. Adventure by trade.
An adventurer. Well, I suppose that is considered a valid calling in your native Eorzea, and it does indeed match the profile provided. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valino, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formally, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
If you'll allow me...
Cryo!
My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Croyle, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you all seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we?
I love that Estinian doesn't even actually know what he works as.
Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlian.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Yes, bully the Estinian. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for details. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. Oh gosh, I don't know how to talk. I've thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Central and Estinian's first time in Shalien, and for the rest of you a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you are dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldician Annex. How does that sound? 'Tis a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Levieur estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. I'm equally untethered as it were. There is no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Aetherite Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith. By thy leave. What of you, Estinian? My service as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. But I could... Oh. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You have been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Oh, of course, if you will have me. Come, Sentrin, Shalien awaits. Ah shit, it's high eye level. After you, my friend. I am more than content to follow your lead. Grahati is not going to keep it. You're gonna... Well, guys, he's going next time. All set then, let us be on our way. Our first stop, as amusingly enough, will be the last stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Another accompanying you lead you to the last stand as we contact points along the way which offer additional topics of discussion. Enter the following glowing areas and speak with your companions to initiate these bonus. Wait, aren't those supposed to be weathered? Discuss the giant statue in the harbor. On that side, one could I can't even get it into my... Okay. How did I forget? The great statue of Talalek. As a student of Valdesian, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. The path leading out towards the sea is known as Tetalik Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Sharlayan people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Talik was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, an alignment of principles, as it were. We have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of say, the Ishgardians. Individual Sharlayans can, and do, worship the divinities of their choosing. Oh, you guys can run, never mind then. Ah, and here we are, the last stand. I have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Sharlayan tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. How can I put this? The food is, it's bland, and as encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf, the prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first, and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meal no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Sharlayan, the one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself, because you were typical Sharlayan when it came to cheap and convenient. Raha. But surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe will take us up to the Aetheryte Plaza. Finally, an Aetheryte. Something useful. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, that it's perfectly functioning Aetheryte. Remember to tune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the confluence. A research facility located on this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Sharlayan stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of elegant Aetherites, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora Sharlayan's largest marketplace. Do you mind if I browse the shelf for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment. How optimistic. Feel free to browse all you like, but we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return here later then. These little open-air bookstalls are so uniquely Sharlayan. I'd always thought them a common sight until I visited other nations. Huh. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Sharlayan as well as a wide selection of I thought it said imperial goods from imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutions, but I think that practice has thankfully died out for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aether Plaza, follow the path north, then climb the stairs up to that big imposing building at the very top. Make sure to see if you can spot any male Viera. They are already here. They are here. Oh, it's snowing now. These little decorative features are typical of Sharlayan architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Val were rather simple and rustique by comparison. Thank you, I want trial. This is the Nymphenum, an area dedicated to the blessings of water. For Sharlayan's water represents more than a life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the great flood which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Talik's divine ewer. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city, and a propensity for utilizing water as a decorative feature in our architecture. This grand structure before you is the Rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies, from here one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my arrival in the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Sharlayan. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community, the Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the councillors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. That's west, that's east. So, I really get the feeling that this is foreshadowing somehow. But I'm not smart enough to get it, so I'll just forget it. We're out of Journey's End. History tells us that this was the where those who were put ashore with Archon Numkrempf built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Sharlayan families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from House Levier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance from for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Sharlayan tour to a close. I hope it's proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aetherite Plaza. Correct, after you enter it. But first, let me just pick up this Aethernet. Not down back there. Can't believe they actually just got to name the Levier estate. Like, they just have their own Aethernet shard. What the fuck? Ah shit, there was a... Oh wait. That was where the last stand was, oh god. Yeah, I know my way. Right, we crossed this bridge here, as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful not to end up back at the in the Aetherite Plaza. I want Kryl! Give me Kryl! Sharlayan is full of educational research institutions, but there are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended the exclusive schools they run in these residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. Are we gonna go on a tour with the twins too? God. Yeah, I did it too. I forgot. So many bunny boys, Jesus Christ. As the choice look on Ra's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldessian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive at the doorstep of the phenomenon. But I think we've explored enough for one day. We can take you there another time. Inside you then. Right. I'm back, and I've brought Sentron and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship. Right about ship then. Hello, Raha. It's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Sentron. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ojilka Sujinka. It's been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika Sujinka, Administration Officer for the students of Baldessian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. You may recall meeting his cousin, Ijika. Oh yes, Eureka. I've heard the initial reports. Quite a shock to hear what's become of the Isle. Do take care if you have the opportunity to rejoin the expedition. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Elves served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Sharlayan. Whether to make make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. And yet it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first we must ensure that the Telophoroids fall. Through the door on the left, there is the main hall. We can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is. You probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Andren, so please feel free to make yourself at home. And then, the nap rooms, perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed, far more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. But does it have a glam dressing? 'Twas simply that we were often so busy with research, exhausted from journeys abroad, that we would slip into the Adarn just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following mornings. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. So this is the inn room. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. Can I just do whatever I want now? Can I go attune to the Ethernet shards? So many people, Jesus Christ. No, there's something out here. That shit. Bevis. Respectable name. Bevis. Let me just attune to this so I have all of them. What? Which one do I not have? For the barter. Barter? Fuck. Harbor. Of all the ones I didn't attune to, I didn't attune to the harbor. I'm great. I should look at the next skills I'm gonna get. Holy Sheltron! Block incoming attacks, no shit. That is the point of Sheltron. There's an attack to target. Wait, was that? You have a 10% as well. Oh, okay, so it is Spirits Within. Melee master, increase plenty of. Oh. Adds healing effect to. Wait, what? I can heal with my damage? Nice. Adds healing effect to Divine Veil. Pog. Blade of Faith, Blade of Truth, and Blade of Valor. Anyway. Not the studium, the Valdesian Annex. I'm smart like that. Welcome back, son. Ready for a nap? Let's see the in-room. What does the in-room look like? What does that look like? Making my own crystals. I get a bench. Let's fucking go. Is that Garuda? Good King Moogle Mark. And how you created the Moogles? Yeah, with the rope. Shit. What is... What is... Oh, and that's the Far East. I know that one. Because that has like the phoenix and... Yeah, the turtle. The snake. I forgot his name. Dalamud, the red moon. That one's from Star Wars. Where? I don't know where that one is. That's an... Oh, that's Asasla. That's the airship from Asasla. I can't figure out what that is. It's probably somewhere in the Crystal Tower, I would assume. Don't know what that is either. That's the entirety of Eorzean. Sharlayan, Gordania, Limsa, Ishgard, Kirabania, Ul'dah, Garlemald, Doma, and it's called something else. So it's not called Kugani, but this is where Kugani is, but it's called something else. And there's a map of Eorzea. Sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, feeling refreshed and alert? Our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us. Hurry, boy.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we?
Let's get down to business.
Come
To
what
defeat
may, we
the
must
Telophoroi.
prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The Bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Charlian colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nidana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal.
In Thavnair?
In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice.
Yay!
But the investigation in Charlian is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnarian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts. You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Charlian. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nidana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
So I'm thinking, since I'm already in Shalien, it would make sense to do that one first, right? Since we are already here, we might as well. An unsettling change has come. Unsettling change has come over Shalien, but together we will divine the underlying cause of for the forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the councillors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Shalien's archives for historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the research should proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside Numenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right and you'll find the where's the edge of the woods? Western edge. Yeah. Ugh, fine. The hunt for specimens. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numenon, Shalien's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that. For the archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great Google Library pale in comparison to Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Shalien is free to enter and peruse its shelves, well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I have dispatched Ishtola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alice and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Shalien history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet up at the stone benches over there, once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading. Reading. The story of Shalien. Long, long ago, on an island in the North Sea, there lived a Rogadan man by the name of Njupkreft. Njupkreft was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Njupkreft's crew hauled them aboard his ark, But the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Nimcroft wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abalanthia's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight of Nimcroft gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers, and abandoned the Ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast, where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan. We live in it. Became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. Fun. Oh, roads of old, the colony. Many years ago, on the banks of the Thalig and Durranian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. The settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th astral era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students, hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize that what had become a flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned into the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idleshire. The following chapter is going to go on to introduce the most prominent features of Idleshire. This book does not appear to contain additional information on the Forum, or cover the history of the Sharlayan motherland in great detail. Oh great, I have to actually pick the right book. Fuck. The voice of a growing... that sounds promising. That sounds like the Forum. In the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided in the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th astral era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the Forum as we know it today conceived and created. What are you? Are you a Lalafell? Oh, you're Mammoth. Okay, I'm so confused. An introduction to the heavens. That sounds like Heavensward. Where were 20 summers? During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Nimcroft, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern empty, he introduced his people thus. renounce the ways of war, and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayan took to heart the words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other. A nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be battered for wealth of coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, a citizen of Sharlayan would live by their founders' teachings, for the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star. They would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. An understanding of Sharlayan history and the foundation of the foreign platform. Head outside and run away. Yeah, okay. Doesn't go that far down as far as I can tell. Like just down there. So, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final days, specifically. So we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare, and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read, and a ready supply of hot tea. Well, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little precious, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Sharlayan, we were not to be allowed across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position, and that of the Forum, will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Ah, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilsabad, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thavnir. The Allegans founded a city that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of the elegant technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Gallian rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of the local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amoenus. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in elegant civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the elegant eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alag. As the last child born with the elegant eye, I was given over to the custody of friends in the students of Baldessian, who had been registered as a Shalian citizen. Who had me registered. I never even considered. Forgive me. It was unkind. It was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louisois, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Shalians than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. Which is exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. I really don't know how to read, Jesus. Here. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the Forum's stubbornness, aside from trifling matters of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Sentrin. More company should be arriving any moment now. Oh, they are sitting there, okay. A fellow scientist. We returned with our selections. Although I must say the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kryl has already flickered through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amrod firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking critical details. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? Complete destabilization of creation magics. Yes, the unfounding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have made something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved, or passed on. Ystola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? The entire star was engulfed by disaster all at once. I think you may be misremembering. As I recall, it was more of a gradual spread. Right. The Amoratine spoke of a keening sound that rose from the land itself, just before our region was visited by catastrophe. We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbingers of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of Numenon's mammoths and ask after any books in which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? They summoned Zodiac. Yes, with Elizabeth serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was their fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiac a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Venant and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelin. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. All that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen that what they're doing with those towers of theirs is forcing people to summon primals, a kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a covenant metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? Sorry, but this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Ishtola, but 'tis time we began studying these research papers. And we wait again, great. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search for the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Orianshi learned the source reflections from the Jerem oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, the tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Grubel Library. 'Tis even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Forcelano with knowledge of the Telophoroi and their manifestations, he scoffed at a suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the forum's behavior, it is kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty, Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. I am illiterate. You labor for what feels like ages as you stole as research assistant. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a ma'am at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For a moment though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Ready for the tea break, Sergeant? I know I am. Honestly, my next mega shorts are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables. I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Yes, the bells are gone now. The hell is this Gaia Grimoire? A wild Kyo. As busy as ever, I see. How very Charlian that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place in an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telophoroi. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? There's no coding if you. What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Telophoroi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear, and... Wait, you're that House Levier girl, aren't you? And this man with you is obviously a foreigner. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims. And here you are giving truth to the rumor. I'll thank you to leave me be. I've naught to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Sentrin. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telophoroi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Livia. Well, churches, but I've worked in the office of the forum, and if word reached Master Fortune that I was helping you. I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Welcome, sir. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alice I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between lessons at the studio. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eosia, but then you never came back. Lately there's been gossip about your father owning the pair of you. Everything alright at home? It's complicated, and I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Levier. No matter how discreet Master Fortuno may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all times? We have questions, and only Charlian has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about the apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse. Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlian, aren't you? Then fear will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? Count on me. It's not like we have much other choice, to be fair. I was gonna really quickly note myself a little bit down. That's the spirit. Pay attention and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The tea is set to the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind him you should see a Mikoto gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. The tea set. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you. It's a lot for who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them. All their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about ritual arcane practice of the 6th astral era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Here's your omelette, miss. Finally, 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's dig in, no time to waste. What, the Telophoroi? Ah yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest gazette. That had some grand claim about the end of days, some old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Miss? Urbane banter with a smile. No, just here, have your lobster. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. The final days. This is the first I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Sharlayan. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. If the sea sloffer make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbour and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting, they seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the Forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. Into the bunny boy. But let's enjoy our drink somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their waging tongues. Levies of old challenges. Yes, this should be doing nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight. Oh, they can't sit there. GM's banned them.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
Sus.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos.
What do you say, Labyrinthos?
A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Labyrinth descent. We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead into Numenon, and I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back. I'm assuming those are just hunts. No new titles yet. Welcome back, Sentin. Been for a walk and cleared your head, have you? Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigation and turned up information on the Gleaners. It makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo, it certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let us see what theory we can build from the facts. As Stola observed earlier, Numenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with that, Sentinel and Alcé learned that at the last stand we can be reasonably sure that most Sharlayans know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telophoroi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Ors's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it is a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. If we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. What should we expect down there? Oh, I should hate to spoil the surprise. Oh, I would hate to. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I would like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would a great help. Thank you, Raha. Let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where the entrance is. Is it gonna be a dungeon? I get the feeling it's gonna be a dungeon. And if so, I'll trust it, because I don't know if depending on the queue time, of course, but still. Ready? Labyrinthos is not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Follow as I turn. It's pleasant here, but we really should move along. Then run, Alice. Sweet Jesus. Now we run. Try to keep up. At least we move at the same pace now. Ooh, there's a bench there. Keep to the path straight ahead. So this is probably the entrance to Labyrinthos. Up here. The Rostra. Not far now. Here we are, through this door and down the stairs. You did remember to tune to the shot back there, didn't you? It will make your life much easier if you need to come back here in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. Haha, it is interesting. This was a lot bigger than I expected. I love that they still have the hat. We're all here now, yes? I've taken the liberty of securing permission for our group's descent. Right, everyone on to the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves. And this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
The Northern Empty. Labyrinthos.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Male Viera.
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh. Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
Sus. Sussy. Sus. Very sus. Aetheryte. Let me think. The Rehia Sage should be item 1058. Common Siege 1059. Snubbleberry 1061. Oh, or were they 1000? Oh wait, fuck, I fucked with myself. Ah, my head feels like it's stuffed with moko grass. Why more though to take out than carry in? Why do all this at once, risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Kurthan carrots for the Girabanian carrots? What then? Exchange. Large is coming in and out of that, yeah. I can sell those. I have Scavian gears. You're here to help but give me more headaches because you don't have the look of a gleaner, and I'm in no mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues, I was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have a pack of mammoths running loose. exhausted gleaners. You want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books and ore and fauna. If it needs hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in labyrinthos, you know. Sort and tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. They just did one a few summers ago, even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be that they're changing the layout, eh? Preparing for the next big expansion. Taking stock on labyrinthos. Fuck, there we go. Can I? Oh god, I can't link the Aether. I'll keep it there. It's a relic. Any luck, Senton? What tales did the Gleaners have to tell? Shit. Shit's bitchin'. So this grand operation began without warning, and for every item they bring in, they are sending more inventory somewhere else. That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right, the Forum is definitely up to something, and they're turning labyrinthos upside down in the process. We would do well to learn more of what specifically the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who has tasked them to do it. If you're game Centurion, I have an idea. Didn't one of the Gleaners just your question say something about escaped mammoths? Perhaps if you were able to help him capture said creatures, he might be inclined towards a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting. Happy hunting. Could use a man. You wish to help me find the mammoths. I have nothing suitable to pay you for your services. But if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I'd welcome the assistance. The name is Erenvile, friend. Speciality is the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of these Naxian mammoths is a trial I have no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call them. For mercy, there are no other mammoth species on this tier at present, so there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in this sack, gently of course. Where to begin, you wonder? I've not seen any scampering around here, so I will need to widen our search into the surrounding forest. Be on your guard, there are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a mammoth, or you. I'll search the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. That's not where my range button is anymore. Forgot I wasn't playing Dark Knight. I maybe. More. God damn it. Small bean. Don't make me soda. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Alright, here comes Atonement. Bitch. Where you gonna run to now, bitch? Squeak, squeak. Yes. Oh, let me just go to the data right now. While I'm here, I might as well. You know. Yes, music sounds familiar. This is one from Idleshire. How did you fare? I tracked down 3 of the pack, which leaves one unaccounted for. Ah, there's the odd mammoth out. Wait here a moment while I put our friends in a holding cage. Thankfully, the mammoths seem to be unharmed. They're held up in isolation, but it's much too soon to release them. Oh, fuck. It's a good thing we were able to recapture them so swiftly. You have my thanks. What will we do with the mammoths now? That's for the Forum to decide. They are guiding authority behind Labyrinthos after all, and this job was but one small part of this great inventory of theirs. Suitable for consumption and easy to breed, those were the two conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. There you are, Centron. Is this the gleaner you mentioned? The one who was looking for lost mammoths? Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk, anyway? I'm Crown of the students of Valdesian. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the Forum's decision of late have not sat entirely well with us. That is why we made the descent into Labyrinthos. We hope that by seeing those decisions put into action, we might more fully understand their reasoning. Wise and practical. Never hurt to try and gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls. Other animals to capture and enclosures to empty. Once again, I'm sure that I can offer you more of your services. I'm offering you more for your services. I'm doing great today. I'm doing absolutely amazing. Did you learn anything new from your friend there? So you've confirmed that the order for this ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. I'd say that fits with everything we've heard thus far. We've also discovered when the operation was begun. The Forum contacted the Gleaners Guild ship and put their people to this great work for some 4 days after the Telophroi made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners kept abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus am I inclined to trust that their calendar of event is accurate. Altogether, it gives the distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthos and its archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. And Telophroi declaration was what set it all in motion. It seems likely, but let us not leap to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wide investigation of Labyrinthos. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Archeon? From there we can reach the lower. Kryle, what's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me in a bit of a headache, that's all. Nothing that will stop me from soldiering on. Let's be about it then. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the way to the Archeon. We follow the path east, through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse. Or mammoth, was it? Anyway, 'tis the trolls you need to watch out for. Just like being on the internet, damn. Okay. Interesting gathering outfit. Behold the Archeon. As Numenon serves as Sharlin's literary archive, so does this structure house the city's wealth of material data. The architecture, too, is similar. This building you see is merely the upper entrance and access point. An access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as the detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archelon contains a physical history of Sharlian's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. Well, we won't learn anything of what value standing out here. Let us proceed into the main building and speak with the custodian. Give me your card, bitch. Give me that card. I got a troll card, let's go. Greetings, we are here to peruse the Archeon's vault. Peruse? You are clearly not gleaners then. Might I ask your affiliation? We belong to the students of Valdesian, but is that relevant? I was given to believe that the vaults, those open to the public at least, were open to the public. Ordinarily, yes, that would be the case. At present, however, access is restricted. Only persons directly involved in the reorganization efforts are permitted to enter. Not us then, I suppose. I suppose we had better move along to another facility. This building has a lift which connects to the middle tier, yes? Might we have it at least make use of that? That service has also been suspended, I'm afraid. For the time being, priority has been given over the convenience of inventory. So this is as far as we can go? My apologies for the inconvenience. Please come again after our reconstructing operations is concluded. By the time it will be too late. We were so close to getting answers. We need to rethink our approach. Let us step outside for the moment, shall we? Students of Valdesian. We were at an impasse. As we have no other leads, I would like to pursue this one further. But I doubt that our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by heartfelt pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. It's likely that the people in this area are involved in the reconstruction. restructuring in one way or another. If we were to integrate ourselves, they might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let's ask around. Surely someone is in need of a few strong backs to lighten the load. Frog. I see that. Am I taking the lift? Oh, no, we're just students. They won't let us into the Archeon even though we found. Actually, we have no idea what it is we found. There's no record of such a creature anywhere. But it was wandering around tranquility, and so we thought to donate it to the vaults. Screw you, screw you. Oddest little squeal, don't you think? Anyway, I suppose we'll have to take care of it until the Archeon is open again. What's that? Take you down on the lift with me? Sorry, but not a chance. I've been up and down all day, and only now I finally found a spare moment for the rest. I did see a gleaner fellow heading out the gate there, though, shouldering a large pack, engaged in some manner of task. Maybe he'll be headed down below after he's done with whatever it is he's doing. Quiet, you'll frighten it away. Alright, you again. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in the middle of another task. The cloud kin I need to capture is close, very close. You wish to help me with this too? You spend your time in unusual ways, my friend. Still, 2 hunters are generally better than 1. Very well. The canal here is a common gathering spot for birds of all kinds, but the one I'm after today is the hornbill. Its feathers are green and its cry is distinctive caw. Single it out and shoot it with this sleeping dart. Your effects are short-lived, so I'll lie in wait down by the riverbank to claim our quarry. Be sure to hit the right one. The green caw. Yeah, I know how to use the blowgun. I have been taught. Oh, I didn't mean to shoot. Wait. Caw. Cuckoo. Oh, it must be that one then. I didn't know hornbills got that big. Jesus. The celebratory fucking yay.
Fair shot.
Oh shit, he can talk.
Nicely done. Let me truss this one up and I'll make my way over to you.
Can't believe he's a main character.
you are. Any new revelations?
So you met with that gleaner again, this time to capture a hornbill. I understand catching and bringing in creatures from the outside, but what's the point of chasing after ones already here?
Oh, it's a simple thing, really. Occasionally, we remove specimens no longer needed for study, or those we've had difficulty raising. But we can't simply turn them loose. Safely returning such creatures to their native habitats is another facet of a gleaner's duties. But not in this case, I'm afraid. I've been asked to bring the bird below.
The restricted section in the lower levels of Labyrinthos. Open only to a select few researchers handpicked by the Forum. The projects down there are the subject of rumor and hearsay. Forbidden magics. Advanced technologies that can never be allowed to fall into outside hands. Even Archons are not privy to the truth. Those who are, the researchers involved in this secretive work, are not permitted to walk freely in the city, and are instead required to live in isolated quarters.
What could a facility subject to such strict security protocols possibly need with a hornbill? An experiment?
Possibly. I wasn't afforded an explanation. But judging by the requisition list given to me and my colleagues, I doubt it's for any kind of advanced research. I'd be more inclined to believe we were making preparations to migrate to the south. Mericidia or thereabouts.
What? Why would you say that?
Much of the flora and fauna we were asked to procure could serve as reliable sources of sustenance. They're comparatively hardy species, too, able to endure harsh climates. And among them are specimens known to be effective in improving soil quality and purifying water.
When you put it that way, migration does sound like a reasonable assumption.
That's all it is, though. An assumption. Through our tasks, we gleaners glimpse only bits and pieces of the Forum's plans. Our prime concern is that our requisitions, be they living or otherwise, are properly preserved for the knowledge of future generations. Now, I really must be going. I regret that I cannot reward you as you deserve.
Actually.
Perhaps you might reward us after a fashion then. It is imperative that we reach the lower levels. And seeing as you are already set to descend with your assigned cargo, mayhap we could accompany you as your assistants.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. Once the animals have been prepared for transport, we send them down separately via the lift. I will of course follow after to make my report, but I can hardly pass you off as porters when there's nothing left to carry.
Indeed. Pray forget I said anything.
How do you feel about climbing? If you've strength and the courage to brave it, then there is another way down. This path leads to the 33rd facet, a mine shaft excavated during one of our expansions of Labyrinthos. While I cannot guarantee that the passage is safe to traverse, it should provide access to the medial circuit below.
I never even knew such a place existed. Thank you. This is the perfect solution.
You're quite welcome, but consider yourselves warned. If the going proves too treacherous, you do well to turn back. I bid you good day.
Well, turning back is hardly an option, not when we've come this far. Let's go and take a look at this mine shaft.
We're playing Minecraft. This must be it, the entrance to the mine shaft. 'Tis faint, but I hear something moving within. Creatures home there by the researchers, you think? Well, slavering beasts aside, we will need to watch our footing. We should tighten our straps and such before we continue. Assuming everyone's tightened their straps and check their gear, then I say we head on in. Given the terrain ahead, though, it might be to leave some distance between us. They don't want to be stumbling over each other if it comes to a fight. Take it slow and don't forget to check your surroundings from time to time. We can meet up again at the other end of the tunnel. Oh, you're one of those. Easy. Okay. Everyone seems to have made it through without incident. Nothing of consequence at least. And as promised, the tunnel has delivered us into the medial circuit. As I recall, this here is where they keep keep a wide variety of samples for agricultural production. If Ernvile's assumptions hold true, that specimens are being collected in preparation for great migration, then we should see evidence of such plants in the area's research projects. Let's follow the path to the nearest farming facility and see what we see. Aha! Now I know where we are. This is Mineral Agronomics. Labyrinthus is host to a wide variety of vegetation, which allows us to conduct studies on cultivation methods utilized in foreign lands. And if this facility, which coordinates and oversees those efforts, the fruits of their research, go to feed the Labyrinthos colleagues, also are here. More notable success might make it to the Agora. Food so exotic you'd be hard pressed to guess their origin, let alone how they might taste. Indeed, mystery vegetables without a name, only a list of nutritional benefits scribbled on a card. I see no gleaners here about, yet these workers seem to share that same sense of urgency. It is possible they know something of the form's plans and their underlying motivations. Worth looking into, wouldn't you say? See what you can coax from the workers. The rest of us will do the same or cast about for useful clues. Oh, hello there, General Kenobi. Oh, hello there. We weren't expecting visitors. Not with the use of the lift being restricted. How did you make it down here anyway? The mineshaft, you say? Well, you're a much hardier soul than I. Under normal circumstances, I'd reward such tenacity with a guided tour of the fields, but I'm afraid the former has us filling order list a mile long. Massive yet detailed request, literal wagon loads of crop samples, and hardly any time to put them together. When I first heard of this grand reorganization, I assumed we would be shuffling around old stock to make room for new. Then came the orders for ridiculous quantities of seeds we've already thoroughly researched. Passing strange, eh? I pressed for an explanation and was met with vague assurances that all would be revealed in due course. Not the most satisfying answer. Do I have aught to be taken down below? Now more than I can carry and then some. Most of our stock is sent off via the cargo lift, but some has been earmarked for aerial transport. Hence the stack of crates atop that hill over there. Guards holding the ladder up that slope was a job and a half. Can these doors open? No. Oh, there. What crops are we raising? Well, as you can see, this one is a variant of grape. Only a good source of sunlight to grow on. The conditions here are nothing short of perfect. Hardly surprising given that it's native to a particular local in the very place upon which Labyrinthos was modeled, a region in the south of Ilsebard. It boasts a remarkable habitat diversity, allowing for myriad flora and fauna to thrive. Chilly peaks in the north give way to swaths of temperate plains, which in turn transition into a hot, humid coastline. Such bountiful territory is ever contested as you might expect. Used to be called Corvus before the Imperials renamed it Locus Ammonius. The Forum saw it not as a prize, however, but as a research ideal environment. One whose climates we strove to recreate within the confines of Labyrinthos. It since provided a rich foundation for countless experiments in cultivation. Okay, hello request card damage. Yeah, let's make the damage. Okay, so the G request card like that, okay. The labels on these crates tell the story of their content. Bundles of common seeds of saplings accompanied by sheaves of reports. Is that a crystal?
Hard to look away, isn't it? But they're more than pretty flowers. Heart blooms are attuned to ambient emotion.
There we go.
You don't seem convinced, but believe me, it's true. This ashen grey, for instance, it mirrors the anxiety and urgency of those working nearby as they rush to fulfill sudden orders. Intense feelings like those spur the petals to change colour. Bright glowing hues in the presence of joy, dark subdued shades for frustration or despair. Yet even with the collected wisdom of Charlian at our disposal, we've yet to identify the underlying principle of this empathic effect. And there are other mysteries besides. Although the flower is extraordinarily long-lived, its low reproductive rate has made it difficult to find younger populations growing in the wild. With too few sightings to map its distribution, and no closely related species to track, we've been unable to pinpoint its land of origin. To further complicate matters, every culture, even dimly aware of its existence, has given it a different name and mythos. Our attempts to study it via the historical record have been an exercise in frustration. As an avid botanist myself, I should one day like to unravel the Heartbloom's secrets. But I'm afraid other duties must take precedence. I will leave you to your thoughts.
Hydaelyn. Probably. Hydaelyn.
Have you learned aught of interest? A flower that reacts to one's feelings? Strange. I must say, I have never heard of such a thing.
This is all very fascinating. But as it stands, we've failed to gain any significant insight into the Forum's undertaking.
Indeed. While there is certainly enough activity to support Erenville's supposition that a priority has been placed on improving food production, unfortunately for our investigation, these workers were never informed as to how their duties serve the master plan.
If only we could interrogate the Forum members directly. Isn't that the entrance to the Archaean? Look, there. I think that's Erenville.
A little difficult to tell from here, but I think you're right. He did say he was coming down to make his report.
Erenville receives his orders from the Forum. Would it not follow, then, that the superior to whom he reports is a Forum member? Or at least a close associate?
You mean to eavesdrop on their conversation? What of the risks?
Ours alone to bear. We won't interfere with Erenville's work, nor will he be implicated as an accomplice. If you're not comfortable taking part, I can do this alone.
Nay. I said myself that I wished to know Father's intentions. And no answers will be forthcoming should we simply ask nicely.
We can apologize later, should it come to it. Right now, we need every crumb of information we can get our hands on. Consequences be damned.
It might be best if you came along as well. In fact, we should all... crier?
Oh, yes. That certainly sounds like a plan.
I'm glad you agree.
Quickly! Erenville is on the move. We need to get closer before we lose him.
Almost. I can almost reach you.
Oh, great. Is Cry still feeling unwell? I've never seen her so distracted. Keep an eye on her, but keep moving too. We cannot let our quarry slip away. Erenville was headed westwards along the path outside the Archeon. Come, we can still catch him. Hold on a moment. I have an idea. If memory serves, that colossal wall-like structure is Logstikon Beta, one of Labyrinthos' climate control centers. It should have its own lifts, with which one could access the upper or lower tiers. If I were an agent of the forum, I would make up for a convenient meeting place. But even if we happen to find Erenville in the company of said agent, we cannot expect them to reveal issues of importance as we nonchalantly stroll past. Nay, we shall have to remain undetected. If only Graha and his vanish spell were here. Oh, but there is other ways of turning invisible. Hibbity hop, my little toads. Goodness! Unaccustomed to transfiguration. Worry not. It will wear off with the passage of time. I suggest you and your green companions hobble along and catch up with Erenville. Should you feel the magic's fading, return to me and I will refresh the enchantment. And what am I to do in the meantime? Wait here with me. In your current state of mind, you'd be as likely to leap into the jaws of a predator as you would learn anything of note. Which reminds me, where are the creatures here about in that form? In that form, you are essentially defenseless. You have changed into a toad. You must remain transfigured in order to progress with the quest. You return from your tomb. You're too far away. Look to me. Here's a choice of time. Ribbit. Alpha Toad and Alpha Toad are now accompanying you. You keep them shit. Yeah. I want to become famous? No, I don't. No, I'm good. No, thank you. Thank you, random bot. this is the face of someone who wants to be famous, honestly. I'm gonna keep it really quiet. Ribbit. Attempts to and fails to shake his head, but you nevertheless understand that he is telling you this is the wrong way. Ali turns to face the north before, perhaps just suggesting you could cross the bridge. Toad gang. Look at them go.
I trust you will find your compensation to be more than satisfactory. We wish to make clear that we are pleased with the efficiency and thoroughness of your work. So much so that we have come bearing new tasks in need of your competent hand.
Another lengthy list. If I may speak frankly, the Gleaners have been pushed to the point of collapse by your unending demands. We are not familiars to be exploited. We are Sharlayan scholars, and we deserve an explanation for this unseemly treatment. What warrants such urgency?
In an age long past, Sharlayan was charged with a momentous duty. And now that word of the final days hangs heavy in the air, the time has come for us to fulfill that charge. I can say no more, but I promise you this. All will be revealed in due course. And when it has, you will understand that your toil was in service to the greatest good.
Then I will do your bidding. For now. But unless you wish the Gleaners to rise up in protest, I advise you to offer tangible improvements for our working conditions. Your promised revelation does nothing to address present circumstances.
A fair point. Your concerns will be conveyed to the Forum.
I hope that was informative. You may consider my debt to you repaid in full. While I do have my reservations about the Forum, I want to believe that they have our best interests at heart. Which is why I'm reassured that you're busy sniffing out the truth of things. We can ill afford to place all our eggs in one basket, this master plan of theirs, without first understanding the risks involved.
Wait! How did you know it was us?
If you mean to impersonate a toad, try studying the real thing. And don't try to fool an expert.
I mean, he has a point, to be fair. I suppose we should have known a gleaner who specialized in animal procurement would not be so easily deceived. Yet he seemed inclined to put his trust in us all the same. More importantly, perhaps we've discovered a new piece of the puzzle. This monumentous duty the forum agent mentioned. Charlian was called to action and the Tolophoroid's declaration was the catalyst. Whatever charge it is they hope to fulfill, they deem it of sufficient import to disrupt all of Labyrinthos, not to mention ignore Eosia's request for aid. A guide of sorts. What duty could warrant the direct involvement of the Forum and the commitment of all its resources? Judging by what we just heard, none of the gleaners were offered any kind of explanation. At this point, it seems abundantly clear that we'll learn nothing new by pressing them further. We should head back to Stola and Kryl for the moment, see what they'll think of this. Oh, fuck. Guess it's Firebird then. Toads, so many toads. Saw someone getting attacked, so I thought might as well. Fuck it, just take it. Also, I noticed that my spells, they've been reduced to 1000 MP now. Which is pretty nice. I'm assuming that is the... Welcome back. I trust you found Erenville then. Interesting. I had a feeling you would learn something important. Even if that something was simply a confirmation that no one knows much of anything. We should share this with Kryl, then discuss how we'd like to proceed. Assuming you find her back at the farm. She was still behaving oddly, so I bade her return and rest there. Perhaps not the best decision in hindsight. Would you mind checking near those flowers she was so intrigued by? The rest of us can survey the more distant areas, just in case she decided to wander.
For you. The spell will keep it from wilting. She said you would need it for the journey ahead. Will you speak with her now? I cannot hope to match Minfilia's clarity, of course, but...
Is she another vessel for Hydaelyn?
Thank you. Do not worry. She has lent me her body for only a moment. Just as I could not save the first from the flood of light, it has become arduous for me to interact with the physical world without assistance. Though I might converse with you for a time, the incorporeal form I assumed on the ship would be incapable of casting even the simplest enchantment. It is in the depths of the ethereal sea, the place to which all life returns, where my influence is greatest. After Minfilia's sacrifice on the first, it was to the sea, here in the source, where I ferried her soul. I wished that gentle spirit to find rest in the world she loved so well. Her, and another who may yet have a part to play, though that will depend on you. Take the flower. Walk free, for you are free, to go where you wish, to believe what you will. That bloom will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. In darkness, seek joy, surrender not to sadness, and see beyond despair. Walk free and bear the light for others to follow. Together, raise it aloft and let it shine till the end, blinding and radiant.
That was all too brief. Already she seems so far away. My apologies if I startled you. Ever since we began our descent into Labyrinthos, I had sensed another's will, straining to reach out. Even with my particular talents, though, I was unable to make a connection at first, so weak and tenuous it was. Once I took hold of that wispy thread, imagine my surprise to discover it was Hydaelyn herself. Needless to say, it seemed wise to learn what we could before letting go. Her answers were more cryptic than I would have liked, but at least she left us with a guide of sorts, that unusual flower. Yes, we are definitely making progress.
You can't be serious! We've done nothing wrong!
Master Fortuno, what business has the Forum with us?
Obstruction and suppression, apparently.
Mistress
Is this
Baldesia,
the Asian
our
thing?
records
Hold
show
on.
you facilitated the Scions' entrance into Sharlayan by claiming them as assistants for your organization. We are aware of your investigations. After alerting the major institutions to the presence of potential troublemakers, we received word from an Archean custodian. A group operating under the auspices of the students, skulking about Labyrinthos and engaging in clandestine behavior.
Clandestine? We may not have entered Sharlayan as scions, but we did naught to conceal our identities. Our only purpose in this city is to seek the truth. I can think of no reason why our actions should warrant the Forum's intervention.
'Tis not our way to discourage the pursuit of knowledge, but the timing of such pursuits must be considered, not to mention their potential impact. With the world in chaos, we, the true caretakers of wisdom, have committed ourselves to an undertaking that demands the utmost discretion. And we will not risk its success by turning a blind eye to disruptive foreign elements in our midst.
What then is to be our fate? Will you put us on a ship back to Eorzea?
The Forum will convene to examine your case. The results of said inquiry will determine your future in this city. As for your absent companion, he has already been detained.
Graha! But why? Is reading a crime now, too?
Reading is encouraged, celebrated even. Not, however, of the volumes shelved in the restricted section of the library.
Refusing to comply will only make matters worse. Let us instead treat this as an opportunity to open a dialogue with the Forum.
Silence is often one's best defense. I would advise against prolonging the proceedings with frivolous discourse. But enough. This is not the place for debate. The rostra await.
Oh, how fun. God, is it Kryle's hair?
Forgive me. I was careless.
We would have been detained regardless. This way, at least, we managed to stay together. I trust your time within the Forbidden Archives was well spent.
The Forum will come to order. This inquiry is now in session. As Speaker-elect, I will be presiding over the day's proceedings. Master Fortuner, would you be so kind as to restate the matter which compelled you to summon your colleagues with such urgency?
As you are all aware, we recently denied Eorzea's request for Sharlayan assistance. Since then, certain individuals dissatisfied with our decision have taken it upon themselves to interfere with our work. They entered our nation masquerading as associates of the students of Baldessian. But these malcontents are better known as the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. These militants wield influence with both the Eorzean and Eastern alliances, and are inextricably involved with the crises presently afflicting the world at large. Loose in our city, These warmongers sought to meddle with and expose matters of state secret. What are they, if not a dire threat to be expelled?
You have tarnished the good name of the students. Galuf would be ashamed.
Galuf Baldessian was never one to forsake his fellow man. Even if this nation closed every door and retreated from the world, he would have found a way to help the Scions, help every soul of this star fight back against the coming doom.
A terrible enemy stands poised to lay waste to all we hold dear. In the face of such madness, Eorzea reached out to Sharlayan, a respected ally, in the hopes of forming a united front. Was your curt dismissal truly the best you could offer? Or are you so preoccupied with your momentous duty of an age-long past that even the end of the world is unworthy of your attention?
Whence came this revelation?
From the mouth of a forum member within fortuitous earshot.
Then it seems your findings support my own.
Oh shit.
The reason I visited the restricted shelves was to study records of the Forum's policymaking process, to better understand the historical trends underlying their most major decisions. At first glance, the positions of neutrality in war and the accumulation of knowledge above all else appear constant and consistent, the unchanging pillars of Sharlayan society. And once upon a time, I might have left it at that. These days, however, I am more attuned to the subtleties of governance, and so I noticed something odd.
Plot twist, they're all Asians.
From a particular point in time, the purpose of these policies shifted. No longer was knowledge preserved for the benefit of society. Rather, society was to be gradually reshaped to ensure the preservation of knowledge. The most conspicuous and telling change was the one which befell Labyrinthos. Once little more than an oversized storehouse, an enormous allocation of funds saw it transformed into an advanced research and archival facility. I also discovered a fascinating account on the finances of our Dravanian colony. The settlement attracted students from far and wide, and the connections and tuition fees thus acquired were funneled into further improvements for the archives. Now, there is no question that our nation's progress is tied to the acquisition of wisdom. Nevertheless, the vast resources diverted for this purpose borders on the obscene. But returning to the matter of when, our change in course appears to have been made some 270 years ago.
The very same period when Sharlayan scholars in the hinterlands began a formal study of the ethereal sea. You found something, did you not? And whatever it was, gave rise to your oh-so-important duty.
Mind your tongue, Archon. If you had seen...
Yes. We are bound by a duty we cannot ignore. Knowing this, what would you have us do? Abandon our vital work and join you on the field of battle? We will never choose the way of the sword. We will fulfill our mission not through strife and bloodshed, but survival. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must then.
Do as you must, then. But we Scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Such misguided zeal.
Father, Master Fortuno, I fail to understand the stance you have elected to take. But by the same token, I have yet to find a compelling argument to counter the challenge you put to us in Gridania. Still, in the midst of my uncertainty, I must trust in myself to do what is right, as others have chosen to trust in me. So I will continue, as I always have, weighing the consequences of my every action, and allowing my hope for the future to inform my decisions.
That's quite enough. Have you all forgotten the reason for this assembly?
Skolok Monteshane. He's the head of the studium and an old friend of my grandfather's.
Wow, the echo in here is great.
Honestly, every discussion devolves into some interminable debate. Terrible habit. Let's return to the topic at hand, By their own admission, these Scions have resolved to fight alongside the Eorzean nations against the doom which swift approaches. But there exists no evidence of an attempt to incite our citizens to do the same. Furthermore, while our decision may well have been the correct one, we cannot simply bull our way through these disagreements without inviting doubts or objections. Put yourselves in their place. Who among you would leave a tome unopened if an elder forbid you read it with no reason given? No. If we're to quell further discontent, then we must conclude this matter with a fair and even hand.
Thank you, Alice's grandfather's friend.
Master Monteshane raises some valid points. Keeping such concerns in mind, I propose we enforce the following measures. Until further notice, the students of Baldesion are to cease any and all activities within the domain of Sharlayan. You will also refrain from any further investigation into the Forum's decisions and duties. Failure to comply with these restrictions will result in the immediate expulsion of your Scion associates. Let us put this judgment to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. I count 51 for and 48 against. The proposal is passed. Students, Scions, you have heard the Forum's judgment. Pray abide by it, or face the consequences. Honored members, I thank you for your time. This inquiry is concluded.
Well, shit. Guess we have to go help Thancred now. Well, at least we've been allowed to remain in the city. And our endless investigations have not been in vain. We now know that this mysterious duty of theirs began with whatever the Forum discovered in the ethereal sea. With our freedom so thoroughly curtailed, however, we will struggle to learn aught more of substance here in Sharlayan. The overall picture has grown clearer, yes. But that is in spite of the Forum being so maddeningly vague about this duty of theirs. Why are they so reluctant to explain their actions in plain words? Survival come what may. His father's work so vital that it takes precedence over his own family. Alphino, Alice, it is you! When I heard you've been dragged before the Forum, I came as swiftly as I could. I am so very glad they allowed you to stay. Mother? Emilien's Levieux, at your service. And you fine people must be the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. How lovely it is to finally meet you. Mother, please, we do not wish to make things difficult for you. If word reaches father that you were here... Oh, bother that. Am I to be chastised for speaking with my own children? I am well aware that you and Master Fourcheneau are not on the best of terms at the moment, but I've been absolutely desperate to see my darlings again. You will come by the house, won't you? I have gifts waiting. The timing couldn't be better. As matters stand, we shan't be going anywhere until we discuss matters with Thancred's group and reconsider our options. Go visit your home. We will be back at the annex when you're ready to rejoin. I'm not sure Centwin, what do you think? Centwin. The Centwin? What a splendid day this has turned out to be. Champion of Eorzea, I insist that you join us. Yes, miss. But we must be quick about it. For my own benefit, but should my husband return and find you enjoying our hospitality, the servant will be made to suffer the consequences. Centwin, if you'd be so kind as to escort my children to the estate. And then she was gone, and with her any opportunity to protest. Indeed, the matter is settled. Enjoy yourselves, you three. It's gonna have to wait, I'm sorry. Because I have to put up some Christmas decorations before we have a guest today. So, for now, thank you for being here. I hope to see you again. Surprisingly, no dungeons to be done, which I guess is fair all as well. Yes, I hope to see you all next time, when we will, of course, be continuing Endwalker. Hopefully it's gonna be tomorrow, if I can get up early and log in before the queue is annoying. Otherwise I'll find something else we can do. But yes, thank you for being here, and I hope to see you all next time.